2019. Let's find out what's in store for us from astrologer Linda Shaw. She's been doing this for decades. Linda, morning. Thanks for your time. Are you putting your glasses on so you can have a better look into the future? Is that what you're doing?
Indeed, and then I can see you as
you
well.
You can see me properly. So, 2019, we have an election coming up, and I'm sorry to start with politics, but we have to. What's in store for us? What are we going to see? Are we going to see major changes?
You know, it's so exciting. The planets are all changing and gathering together in the place of government, money, finances. All of these things have got to change dramatically in order for us to survive as a planet, never mind as a country. And you know, the individual politicians are almost scrabbling against this tide of transformation over which they have no control. However, they continue to play their games, which is fabulous. And, you know, I think Cyril Ramaphosa is probably the best of the bunch that we can work with, and he will certainly win the election. But
would it be a big win? Is the question? No, what kind of win will that be?
I think because of all the factions within ANC, and because there's such disaster in the management of the ANC, there are so many people that he's got to make promises to. And I think if he manages to get 50% or 56%, I think he'll be crawling on his knees in gratitude, because then we won't have to sort of have insane deals with the EFF and these sorts.
I was just going to ask, that popped into my mind. You're psychic also, so you said you were. I mean, Julius Malema, where do we see him falling into the mix in politics in South Africa in 2019?
You know, basically the EFF, I mean, I love Julius Malema because he reminds us that we can still be mavericks, that we still have some say in our lives, that, you know, if we want to change things, we can stand up and do it. But, I mean, the fact that he somewhat overdoes it and he's a bit of a loony is what it is. But he just gives us the courage to be mavericks. However, as a representative of a party, you know, I would say that the EFF is more like a bunch of vultures who are sort of hanging around picking off the corpses.
So no major inroads for them this year? You're not seeing, is that not going to happen?
No. I mean, essentially, Cyril might have to give him the odd this or that, but no. I think basically the ANC will carry on as well.
Are we in for any surprises in terms of maybe smaller parties doing well? Are we in for, you know, that there might be some shifts, especially on the ground with ordinary South Africans, especially becoming angrier over the past couple of years, especially over Jacob Zuma? Are we likely to see that there's going to be?
Isn't that hilarious? Well, I
mean,
we
need a whole show for that. We need a whole 3 hours. Yeah.
Well, I must say, and I love what's his name, Jimmy Mackie, what's his name? The guy who started the party called the ATM.
Money. Yes.
Who started the party called the ATM. I mean, that just is a slap in the face for all of us.
Well, his name was Jimmy Money, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would have been more fitting, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and Jacob Zuma sort of trying to join in. And look, the thing is that what our government has told us is that they are not accountable for their behaviour, that they can carry on and do whatever they like. But essentially, as a people, we are able to live our lives irrespective of what the government is doing. And that's what the planetary shift is about. It's telling us to find our own community leaders within our own groups. It's telling us to become communities instead of, you know, sort of all separating ourselves into every man for himself. It's telling us to say, let's separate from that lunacy that's going to carry on regardless, worldwide. I mean, you know, everywhere you look. And think about where you can find your own power. I mean, we're talking about new ways to nourish ourselves, new ways to make food, new ways to live and organize our living arrangements so that we use land better and we use resources better. These are the issues that we need to concern ourselves with.
So communities need to come together.
Yeah.
But then we have all this racism or racism allegations popping up, Linda. I mean, what are we going to see? I mean, how do we do that if we still have these underlying things?
You know, the thing about racism is it's just an example of an energy that comes from fear and anger. And fear and anger are fostered by politicians. That's what they thrive on. That's what they feed off. And that's how they control us, is by making us afraid.
And I suppose the other question, our economy, are we going to see that things are going to get better for South Africans this year? Are we going to be able to live?
I think our economy is in for a bit of trouble, but I think worldwide we're in for trouble. It looks to me as if the South African economy improves more in 2020. So this year is a bit dodgy. It's a bit, you know, what is that ghastly expression, tighten your belt?
Yeah.
we're going to have to be a bit careful this year. But I think by next year we're moving into a much better phase.
Okay.
And I think worldwide economies will battle so that, you know, our competition won't be so terrible.
Any other sort of dark spots on the horizon, anything that major that's going to happen that might be tragedy, that might bring, you know, loss for us?
You know, I think from March we're looking at restructuring government. I think there's lots of scandals and secrets coming out, but of course they don't really matter to us in South Africa because we just kind of gloss over them and carry on. But I think the main problem that we're going to have here is social unrest and also water. I think water's a problem.
Again,
we're
just when we thought we'd
floods.
solve
Yeah,
that problem.
we're
Oh,
looking
in
at
terms of
floods.
floods. Okay, all right. So that's a bit of an election prediction. The planets have spoken. Let's see what happens come May. Thank you very much, astrologer Linda Shaw. I'm not sure if I should say thank you, but let's see what happens.